I like the combinations of relationships, father and daughter, husband and wife, man and little girl, all the people, those interconnected relationships of people who rely on each other and who need each other. The virals, as we're calling them, they're not always just other. You know, as you say, they're going to be me soon. You know, and they were my wife. You know, that's killed my wife, and it's going to kill me. And so it's not something that's always just outside. It's actually very much at the heart of the characters. Well, Andy and Toomey they're two people who need each other, and that's partly what I really liked about the script, was that it was, you know, this English guy and this indigenous girl who needed each other, but she wasn't, you know, it wasn't some kind of white liberal's dream about, oh, let's make the indigenous girl the kind of the noble, all-knowing, wise, you know, it wasn't that. It wasn't sort of stripped with a load of white guilt. It was just like, this is a little girl, she knows some stuff he doesn't know, he can help her, and together they can maybe survive this thing. And I really like the honesty of that, about them being quite wary about each other at first, and then getting to some sort of understanding. But it did it in a way, I mean, what I've just said could be a cliche from every single film ever made, but excuse me, but it did it in such a way that was, it didn't smack of patronising anybody, and it didn't smack of, it wasn't too saccharine. I think they've been great. You know, it's their first feature, obviously, and I quite like working with new people. I like working with new young directors because they're the future, and they've got something else to say that I don't necessarily know about, you know, or ways of doing things that I don't necessarily know about. I like them a lot. Yeah, she's been great. You know, Simone's never acted before, and she's been a joy. She's a really lovely girl. She loves to laugh, and she was charging me $1 for every time I swore, so I ended up giving her a lot of money. Yeah, lovely. I really liked Anthony. I wish I'd done more with him, you know. But yeah, he was obviously a really good actor and a very funny bloke. Yeah, I like spending time with him. I didn't see South Australia at its most tourist-friendly point. You know what I mean? I arrived in August, it was like this, and then as soon as we turned over, it all went haywire. You know, yeah, I've been in some interesting locations that were trying, and I've also been in other locations which were fantastic. Me as a foreigner, seeing kangaroos and emus at work was fantastic. Crews work hard on films, you know, and this crew was no exception. It was you got to really pull together on a film, you know, on smaller films especially, where you don't get all the frills and stuff. You know, people really put their nose to the grindstone on this, and I love the crew here. They're the salt of the earth, fantastic. My favourite image is the one that made me want to do the film, which is just the idea of a man carrying his baby on his back with an 11-year-old girl by his side who he doesn't really know, who he's kind of got to kind of not only protect but also be protected by. And that's the abiding kind of image for me.